in my mind while having lunch, So sometimes I gave the Tibetan the transmission of first chapter, but of course, I'm sure you didn't get any clue. What is the meaning of that one, Then I thought, because since I have the root text that which I read the transmission in English, that which I translated with Professor Jan Sovis, I thought it's good to read that the English version as well, so that at least, many of you might already study from Lobon Rinpoche, some of that might new or something, that receiving the English kind of transmission or will get some kind of clue, some kind of understanding. So therefore, I would like to request the Lord Rinpoche to read the English version of that one. Is that good? Yeah? That's all.
So the Buddha's single intentions, translation of the Vajra statements with the position of others, by Jan Ulrich Sobich, under the guidance of Khenpo Rangdro, then Khenpo Rangdro, now Khenchen Rangdro. Statement 1. So this is from chapter 1 of Gongchik. Gongchik has 7 chapters, with chapter 8 as an appendix. So the main body is 7 chapters. This is chapter 1. And then also, Khenchen Rinpoche also told us that chapter 1 is the chapter on the turnings of the Dharma wheel. So all 30 statements pertaining to the different classifications of the Buddha's teachings, which is often called the 3 turnings of the Dharma wheel. So, statement 1. In general, people claim that since the Tathagata is the Lord of Dharma, he teaches things that he holds them, and thus they are like that. So this is sort of the position of others. So in response to this position, now this is the statement of Kyobpa Rinpoche, Jigten Sumgen. All the teachings of the Buddha reveal the original state of the fundamental nature. People claim that since a collection of 84,000 teachings has been taught, by entering any one of these entrance gates, one would attain great awakening. Again, the position of others. Now, Kyobpa Rinpoche's statement, Vajra statement, the 84,000 collections of the teachings are all one as a method of achieving Buddhahood. People claim that the 3 baskets and the 4 Tantra classes are paths that accord with the different dispositions of the trainees. The 3 baskets and the 4 Tantra classes are the stages of the arising of the path. People claim that the Buddha taught that the 3 Dharma wheels for the 3 types, taught the 3 Dharma wheels for the 3 different types of families. The 3 Dharma wheels of the Dharma show that the realizations of the retinues are dissimilar. People claim that the 3 Dharma wheels are separate and unmixed since their topics are different. Within each of the wheels of the teachings, there are 3. All 3 are complete. People claim that although there may exist in that way a connection in the meaning of these Dharma wheels, it is not clearly expressed. The seeds of each of the later wheels of Dharma exist in each of the earlier ones. People claim that the 3 wheels are differentiated through the particular places, times, and so forth of proclaiming them. Through the meaning of the sutras and the vital points of the meaning, the wheels are certainly 3. People claim that the Dharma wheel of the 4 truths is the Abhidharma and not the Vinaya. The Vinaya Pitaka is the Dharma wheel of the 4 truths. People often claim that the teachings of the various vehicles are the middle Dharma wheel, while the absence of characteristics teachings reveal the definitive meaning. The various vehicles teach the Dharma wheel of definitive meaning. People claim that since the Buddha taught all statements as quote, meaning requiring further explanation, unquote, or quote, definitive meaning, unquote, and so on, the Tathagata taught some of these statements as a quote, skillful lie, unquote. Anything taught as the 6 positions is only of definitive meaning. People claim that the instructions of the middle way and the instructions regarding the mind-only teaching are different. The Buddha's instructions that teach mind only reveal the middle way. People claim that the wrong relative truth is not able to perform a function. Wrong relative truth, too, is able to perform functions. People claim that the Sutra path, vehicle of characteristics and perfections, advances through the 10 stages, but those who enter awakening at once do not. All paths advance through the 10 stages. People claim that gradual engagement and all-at-once engagement are alternatives. One engages in all paths gradually. People claim that of all the veils, one first abandons the karmic veil, and then the veil of mental afflictions, and finally the veil of the objects of knowledge. It also occurs that one first abandons the veils of the objects of knowledge. People claim that valid knowledge is not Buddha Dharma since it is in common with the Veda of the non-Buddhists. Valid knowledge is the gnosis that is the knowledge of the Buddha. People claim that valid knowledge is a refutation of inferior philosophical tenets, but except for that, there is no soteriologically relevant result of valid knowledge. The result of valid knowledge reveals the true reality. In other words, emptiness. People claim that refutation of the various tenets is a necessity vis-a-vis Indian non-Buddhists and so forth. All upholders of tenets are own tradition holders. Kyobpa.
Oh, yeah.
Own tradition holders. Meaning fixating on your own position. Like, so all upholders of tenets, tenet systems, still kind of grasp and fixate on their own view. People claim that the complete view, conduct, and practice of the non-Buddhists is only something one must abandon. We maintain that in the systems of the non-Buddhists, too, there is much to be practiced that is virtuous by its fundamental nature. People claim that the various differences, such as the 4 seals that are the signs of the Dharma, are ways to distinguish between non-Buddhist outsiders from Buddhist insiders. The difference between non-Buddhists and Buddhists is the taking of refuge. The differences between the great and the lower vehicles are such things as the 37 factors of awakening and the 6 perfections. Therefore, people claim that these are the differences in the paths to be followed. The difference between Hinayana and Mahayana is the cultivation of the Bodhi resolve. People claim that, in other words, bodhicitta. People claim that the particulars of the paramita vehicle of characteristics and the mantra vehicle, namely taking the cause and the result as the path and so forth, is what differentiates them. The difference between mantra tradition and the vehicle of characteristics tradition is empowerment. People claim that awakening is attained either by the vehicle of the perfections or by mantra. If either mantra or the vehicle of characteristics is lacking, complete awakening cannot be attained. People claim that the 3 vows are practicing virtue and non-virtue in individually different ways. The 3 vows are a single vital topic in that they avoid the 10 non-virtuous actions that are the thing that one must avoid. People claim that the vows are differentiated into 3 through the different things one must observe. The vows become 3 because their possessor changes. Meaning, who's holding these vows changes the vows. The nucleus of a Sugata, of a Buddha, the element that is pure by nature, is taught as emptiness. This element, this Buddha nature that is completely pure by nature, possesses the qualities of the result of separation, meaning separation from the defilements. The Buddha only taught 37 factors of awakening as the path of the 3 vehicles, but not as ground or result. The 37 factors of awakening exist in the essence of the Tathagata, what we normally call Buddha nature. People claim that the 4 immeasurables are merely worldly samadhis, worldly meditative states of mind. But, Kyobpa Rinpoche said, the four immeasurables are the essence of the Buddha nature, is the essence of Buddha nature and also of Buddhahood. People claim that the three vehicles are ascertained as three different causes, paths, and results. The Buddha's intention is the single family and the single vehicle. Shravakas and those who have a craving for the perverse do not attain Buddhahood, and to be a Shravaka has been taught as a permanent obstacle. Even the totally depraved and the Shravakas finally achieve the Great Awakening.
That's all. Now you got English transmission also. So, yeah, that's, I'm sure it makes some sense, you know. So what I read in Tibetan, so that is now the Lord Rinpoche read also in English. So, not only Tibetan transmission, now we got English transmission as well. Okay, so now, of course, each the Vajra statements are really unique and very profound. It's explain very detailed kind of deep meanings of it. But the one thing that it is very important is that why Jiten Sumgon's all these Vajra statements are something very unique or something very different from others, the masters. When we question about that, and then answer, we'll find out that when someone like Jiten Sumgon, actually we consider that Jiten Sumgon, he is a enlightened master. He achieved enlightened mind, even quoted very clearly in his his life story, that when Jiten Sumgon was in Ichungpuk in Tibet. Luckily, recently I was in Tibet. Recently I was in Tibet a few months ago. Actually, the Ichungpuk where Jiten Sumgon he achieved enlightened mind, that was actually nearby. I don't know, Dulab Rinpoche, you found? I could not find, you know. So actually nearby the Phangmo Drupa Dhansa, because since the Phangmo Drupas, the Jiten Sumgon always go to see Phangmo Drupa, his teacher. That is somewhere in the Loka side. Loka is south side. But then somebody said, oh, nearby there. Then we just went there almost 2 hours, you know. We went too far away, and then somehow we could not found the place. Actually, nearby. Actually, so they said there is some small cave. They said actually not so too far away from there, but somehow we missed the road, and that's the place where Jiten Sumgon he achieved enlightened mind. Anyway, so in short, so someone who already achieved certain level of the stage, I mentioned earlier. So one upon on stage, so the teacher and your mind and Buddha is become a oneness. Remember, as I said earlier. So similar to that way, example, the one thing is that here I would like to emphasize that the 15 Vajra statement, he said that people claim that all the three wills, such as first abandon the karmic evils. There's a karmic kind of like obscuration. You say that there are three types of obscuration. Usually we call karmic obscuration, and obscuration of afflictions, obscurations of object of knowledge. There's the three things, you know. So the most scholar, what they explain is the karmic obscuration, such as like what we committed, such as like killing, stealing, all these kind of negative, the karma we call it karmic obscurations. That kind of karmic obscurations are usually abandoned before they reach the first bhumi level, the first stage. So like when the bodhisattva, the practitioner, when they manage to engage into the accumulation path or application path, you know, there's a Tibetan we call Tsoglam and Jorlam. So when they reach that level, and then the practitioner can abandon the obscuration of karmic one. And then there are 10 bodhisattva level, and then from the 1 to the 7th, until the bodhisattva reach 8 bhumi level, so one can abandon the or obscuration of affliction, which we call nyumong vitiva, or the obscuration of the affliction, which we call like basically anger, ignorance, attachment, jealousy. This kind of actually the rough kind of affliction will be abandoned below the 8 bhumis. And at the last 3 bhumis, which is 8, 9, 10, that time then Bodhisattva will abandon, which is the subtle obscuration, which is we call object of knowledge, obscuration of object of knowledge. Tibetan we call sheche jiva. That is the usually most of the scholars actually commonly, almost commonly actually, Sakya, Nyingma, Gilu, whatsoever actually, most commonly, there are actually some different explanation, but that is maybe too much for now. And then, commonly actually they believe and they explain like that way. But then Jigten Sungwon, he said that in my view, he said that I abandon the obscuration of the object of knowledge first. Then the question will raise, what happened with others too? Yeah. Then why Jigten Sungwon, he said that is the actually that Jigten Sungwon, as I mentioned earlier, so all kinds of Jigten Sungwon, whatever he says, whatever he emphasized there was 4 valid, 4 logic, remember? So that actually comes to the related to the experience of the Milarepa, related to the Milarepa life story. When his root disciple of Milarepa, the Kyobpa, when he met Milarepa, of course, before meeting with Milarepa, so Pamodrupa, he already received lots of Kadampa teachings. He is quite a great, knowledgeable person. Already he received many teachings from the Kadampa masters, And then when Kyobpa met Milarepa, and then of course Milarepa asked, what kind of knowledge do you have? What kind of the path that you practices? And he asked about he want to just examine, he want to check that which level he reached, And then Kyobpa said that I did this and I did this and I studied this and this. And then Milarepa asked, how about the procedures of the abandonment of the obscurations? He asked that question to Kyobpa. And then Kyobpa answered, as I mentioned, the karmic obscuration abandoned such a stage and so, as I explained earlier. Then Milarepa said, no, in my way is I abandon the obscuration of object of knowledge first. And then Kyobpa was a little bit shocked, Then what happened with others too? And then Milarepa said, that will be just once you manage to abandon the subtle obscurations, which is the obscurations of the object of knowledge, Shechadiva, other two will be abandoned by itself, by spontaneously, Once you manage to rid out of the very subtle stain on your cloth, of course the rough one will go away automatically, Once if there's some kind of like dirty things is there, if you manage to clear away the tiny stain, then of course the deeper one is. If you manage to dip out the deeper one, and then the superficial one will be go away by itself, by spontaneously, So Milarepa said like that one, Similar way, the Jigten Sungwon also said like that. It makes way sense, because when the practitioner, let's say, there are actually the practitioner, someone who can enter into the path, and they go step by step, then reaching the first bhumi, second level, third level, and then go. And of course, that procedure way is maybe abandoning in the step by step, first karmic obscuration, then secondly, afflicting emotions, and then thirdly, obscuration of the object of knowledge. But someone like that who already, like a case of most of the Kyobpa masters, like in the relation with the Marpa Lotsawa in Milarepa's case, they are kind of already, they have a kind of karmic connection already from the previous life. And then master is actually already kind of very high religion master. And disciple, as a Milarepa, he is not just ordinary person. And then when they meet together, and then instantaneously that someone can reach very high level of the inner realization. So therefore that could be happen. So therefore, okay, now here I would like to explain a little bit about the, as I mentioned before, sometimes I keep forget, But today I'm quite active. Usually I always take a nap after lunch, but today the program, but somehow because of all of your energy, somehow I don't feel any tiredness or something still. Okay, now I would like to emphasize, I would like to explain a little bit about the Guru and Root Guru. I'm sure the Lord Rinpoche might he explain, but somehow, sometimes it's kind of like a reminder, Because why I would like to share a little bit, actually here also it comes, but before I forget. Why Guru and what is the difference between Guru and Root Guru? That's also very important to know. And because here in the USA is a kind of my first time sharing such a teaching note, I didn't have much chance to share. But when I used to go to a lot in Europe countries earlier time, and then people always ask, who can be my Root Guru? How I can find my Root Guru? That kind of questions quite often the people raise up, Then sometimes people come to see me, then sometimes I ask, who is your Root Guru? He say, he is my Root Guru. Why? Because I took refuge from him, The taking refuge, like who cutting ceremony, who cut the hair ceremony, who give you a kind of like the Dharma name, they consider as a Root Guru, which is not really authentic way that so-called your Root Guru. But of course it can be, but not necessarily he or she is your Root Guru. That traditionally the Root Guru, there are actually 3 definitions for the Root Guru traditionally. Some says whom you receive empowerment, Wang, whom you receive transmission, Lung, whom you receive explanation or pit instructions, T. The whom you receive these 3 things, then we can consider he or she is your Root Guru. That's usually one way of definition is saying like that way, Wang, Lung, Ti, Sum, whom you receive. But that also sounds, I feel like a little bit difficult to accept. Nowadays, especially in the Western country, there are so many Rinpoches, Lamas coming, and we receive hundreds of empowerment and transmission, explanation. We cannot consider everybody is our Root Guru. That's quite difficult to accept as a Root Guru. Then everybody is your Root Guru. Look, I'm sure many of you have a more. I think many of you have a more chance to receive more empowerment because nowadays many Lamas, Rinpoches visiting in the West. Even in Bonn also, That's the thing, that's for. And then the second one is that, then second definition is saying that who, who introduce your nature of mind. Sometimes we also, who open your heart, they also said like that. But who introduce your nature of mind, that is actually considered as a Root Guru in a traditional way. That is actually also quite difficult to apply for us. We don't know now what stage you are, but anyway, it's kind of who introduce your nature of mind. That means someone who, like example, like Kyobpa introduced nature of mind, and then Naropa immediately he got the inner realization just by introducing the nature of mind. That kind of person need to be reached there. So that means if someone already got the introduction about nature of mind, then somebody already reached the first Bhumi level, first stage. That's kind of little difficult to make sense for us. So therefore, then in that case, we cannot accept anybody as a Root Guru. Quite difficult, because more or less, more difficult. So then that's as many our devotees that, as I mentioned, that saying that he's my root guru because I took refuge. That is actually not really the correct way of saying. So therefore, and then my interpretation, not only my interpretation, that actually in the many texts says that they are mentioned about the karmic guru. Tsarablegi Lama, Tibetan we go, Tsarablegi Lama is a karmic guru, isn't it? Like who has something special connection with the guru. Then nowadays, like the 21st century, I think my interpretation or something is, another thing is, there is actually another way of believing the root guru is that we call some lineage or some master actually also said that, your root guru is so and so because he is the lineage guru. Like example in Drikung, like our both holiness. So they are actually the throne holder, seat holder. Usually we say, he is the your root guru because he is the lineage guru. He is in the refuge tree, on the refuge tree. He is the lineage guru. That is actually another interpretation. All this, that 3 or 4 explanation was actually valid because different masters say different way explaining. Of course, it's different ways. Many people actually don't receive empowerment from everybody because who really wants to keep as a root guru. Explanation is okay, teaching okay, transmission okay. There are some people very smart, because receiving an empowerment, then also you have to follow all the commitments that you have to do that many people could not do. So therefore, I know even some people that only receive empowerment from certain guru, not everybody, because in that way, actually, whomever you receive Wang Lung Chi, that can be considered. Because if you are really following that kind of things, and then another one that someone that who really give the introduction of nature of mind, then really if you understood about that kind of thing and you already reached certain level of recognition of your mind, that in that case also he or she can be recognized, accept as your root guru. But those things are a little bit far for our common level considering as a root guru. So therefore, now my interpretation and I'm thinking is the best way of accepting root guru is the based on the karmic guru. There's a Sarabhlegi Lama. I think the karmic guru would be the best option for the common people to accept root guru. That is I'm saying, Why I'm saying is that in the case of when we look in the history of all the pilgrimage, the master life story, example like Milarepa, before he met Marpa Lotsawa, he met many masters, many Nyingmapa masters whom he learned from many things, many magic things, or whom he received many medical powers that he received teachings, empowerment, and many the yogis, Yet, but he don't feel any kind of special connections between those masters. And then one occasion, then when he hear the name about the Marpa, just by hearing the name of the Marpa, total his life got a transformations, Just by hearing the name of that's a karmic connection, Just by hearing the name of the karma, then nothing is there in mind, his or her mind. That's happened, Then only when I can see this person. In that stage, since they got a connection now, there was a connection, but it's not connected. Now, once they got a connection, and then everything changed, and whatever sees outside, the things are he or she can see as a manifestation of that such a guru, And then just by hearing the name, then maybe can't stop, keep crying, goosebump, standing goosebump, Happen, sometimes sometimes also when we think about our parents, what happened? We got some kind of body reaction also happening because of our loving for our parents. We have some kind of, sometimes also when we think about this particular teacher, our guru, that whom you have a special connection, it's happened, goosebump, standing, and then also tear coming spontaneously, and then body shaking. All these things are happening because of some kind of course, karmic connection, because of devotion, because of some kind of connection, those things are happening. And at the same case of Jiten Somgon, that now whom we are talking about, the Gongchik, before Jiten Somgon, he met Phangmo Drupa, he met many teachers. Nothing happened. Then upon one time, then he met there's one Pandita called Gode Pandita, something Pandita. Then he asked about the situation about the central part of Tibet. And the Pandita said, oh, nowadays there's a very popular one master is so-called Phangmoduba and blah, blah. Just by hearing the name of Phangmoduba, there's nothing in Jigten Sungwon's mind, only when I can see the Phangmoduba, And also it's mentioned very clearly when he started his journey to go to see Phangmoduba, on the way, whenever he see something animal, he sees as an emanation of Phangmoduba. Whenever he sees some mountain, something, this could be the emanation of the Phangmoduba. So nothing in his mind of Jigten Sungwon, only everything he sees as an emanation of Guru, So therefore I am saying is that when you reach certain level of that kind of thing, that whomever you have, it's not necessarily to have something like His Holiness title, His Eminence title, whatsoever. That's my personal, whomever you feel like whose teachings is really touching to you, whose teaching is very much kind of makes sense for you, whose teachings change your entire life. There are many people happen like that. That kind of the person, that kind of he or she or lay person or ordained one or holiness whatsoever, doesn't matter. But that if you have that kind of special connection with someone, some teacher or whatever, I think, and that can be considered as a root guru. And then from him you can receive initiation, you can receive teaching, you can receive transmission whatsoever. I don't know. Does it make sense or not? That's actually, I feel like that is a more, makes sense, for everybody. One comes to that kind of connection, karmic connection, and then whom you have a special feeling, that can be then who, even if he give introduction of your mind, might you have a easy to understand, even if you give an initiation whatsoever, that you feel like much comfortable. Okay, that is my sort of interpretation or something for root guru finding. Okay, now the second question is that, do we really need root guru or not? There's another question. Do we need or not need? Do you need root guru or not? It can help. My answer is yes or not. Yeah? Yes or not? Yes, why I'm saying is yes, you need to have a root guru is, if you're really serious practitioner, if you really want to practice seriously in a sense, I don't mean that you don't need to give up everything, so it doesn't mean that you really serious want to practice this, or maybe even now you are practicing seriously every day, or maybe even when you retire, if you really want to go somewhere in the isolated area, mountain area, you really want to focus on practicing nothing else. If you have that kind of plan for in your life, then you do need to have a root guru, If not that, if you just want to learn something about Buddhism, you just want to learn, just want to understand about the Buddhism and Drikung Kagyu and whatsoever, or maybe just you want to learn for entertainment even, it could be, sometimes, just want to learn about the Buddhism, want to learn about Hinduism, want to learn about Christianity, whatever, just for like gaining knowledge. I think not necessarily to have a root guru, Okay. Then why, if you are a serious practitioner, why you need to have a root guru is, because then when we are a serious practitioner, and then we really want to gain something in your life, and if you really put effort gaining something, or want to, even, thinking about achieving a enlightened mind within single life or something, and then if you do serious practitioner, you might get so many different experiences in your meditation state. Like we call like the experience of bliss, experience of clarity, experience of no thoughts, or maybe experience of seeing many thousand Buddhas, experiencing, or maybe you are receiving many prophecy from Dakini and Dakini. There's so many things can be happen. Or maybe experiencing seeing the mandala. The late Duang Rinpoche, Did anybody see Duang Rinpoche? No one. I'm sure you heard about Duang Rinpoche, but many of my youth, Duang Rinpoche, of course he is the yogi and he can see, he can experience many things, It's even sometimes we got so fortunate that we managed to receive many teachings or mainly actually his kind of advices from Duang Rinpoche. Sometimes when we are having some pujas at the monastery, he just suddenly stood up from his throne, just running in the temple, running there, running here. That time when I was little, I was curious why he's doing something like that, crazy things, But the later on nowadays we notice that in the text also mentioned sometimes when the master when he reach certain even when you in the future actually when you will study or when you practice about the Sharavasti meditation that compiled by our Holiness, the 10 days course, there actually also Holiness mentioned that the certain yogi, they can have a certain time, certain meditation state. They can have a experience of that. You can feel that I want to jump from here to here to here. So sometimes what happens is that when you finish school, what happened? When you finish schooling things, when you finish your examination, students are just running, jumping, isn't it? That's showing the kind of moment of joy, Even one time I saw in, I think in somewhere, if I don't mistake, in Belgium. No, not Belgium, sorry, in this another one, Netherlands. I saw many, the school bags are hanging outside, door. Then I asked somebody, what is doing? Because somebody finished school. Is it true? Somebody who completed school, so they hang their bag outside of the window or door, something, showing some kind of excitement, They're so happy, it's kind of schooling. Then we go to college, more freedom,
Here they burn their books.
Really? And then also, but here book or not, but I saw that when they graduated, when they received the graduation the ceremony, they throw the heads, That's I saw. That could be also the one kind of symbolic of the showing the enjoyment, Similar to that way, the certain yogis, when they have that kind of experience, they could have some kind of jumping type things and running, jumping. That could be the happen, I think, that regarding the Duang Rinpoche, when sometimes he just stood up and then running from here, he was so really, and even sometimes he just sing a song of the Vajra song, So, okay, though all kind, and then also that Duang Rinpoche, so when most of the night actually, it's quite difficult time for the attendant actually. I never have experience, but some of my colleagues who was with Duang Rinpoche as an attendant, Rinpoche always, of course, Rinpoche when he don't sleep, but when he in the always sleeping in the meditation porches, and then he always shouting in the middle of the night, to the attendant, "Hey, please come here." And because Rinpoche, he could see many things, sometimes mandala, sometimes like many Buddha, sometimes Dakini, and then he just called his attendant, "Oh, do you see? Do you see here mandala?" You see, in the middle of the night, So really, I'm not telling truth that because even Dupon, this Lundup Dorje, all they have an experience of being Duang Rinpoche. So therefore, why I'm saying is that if we are really serious practitioner, and then of course we do need to have a root guru, because root guru knew that what level you reach. And then also when we go through the process of the path, and at a certain level we get some kind of, Tibetan we call, it is very important words, I don't know how to put into English, Geksel Bogdon. Geksel wise,
It's clearing obstacles.
Enhancement of your, Geksel is the removing or clearing away the obstacles and enhancing to your realizations. Actually, that was the Tibetan, is very important was Geksel Bogden. Then the duty of your root guru is Geksel Bogdenba. Because when we do the practice seriously and a certain date, you will get the hindrances, you will get the obstacle of your through because of the channels, some blockage of the channels, blockage of the wind, blockage of the bindu char hung thigle, because of that we could feel an experience of different things, some obscuration, some kind of like obstacle may face most of the practitioner. And then the guru, since the root guru, he already passed through this kind of the journey, that he or she knows that where you will face problem. Because if somebody, example like somebody who have an experience, like especially that tour, same as like the tour guide, tour guide, they know. Or sometimes they say, oh, you have to be careful with your mobile. This area, there's a lot of thieves. You have to put your mobile, you should not, it's happened because he has experience. Where is the thief? Where is the things, Similar to that way, in the spiritual path, actually, there are some kind of obstacle and things. In that cases, the root gurus are very much helpful. Otherwise, you will stuck somewhere, You will stuck there, but you cannot move forward your practices. Similar. One example is that in short, of course, there's a long. One occasion when you look into the life story of Milarepa and this Gampopa, one occasion, of course, Gampopa, he experienced there's 10 different kind of experiences in his meditation stage. One occasion he saw 1,000 Buddha in his vision, and then he was so excited, He thinks that now I already achieved enlightened mind, Then he just ran away to see Milarepa, He was so excited because he saw 1,000 Buddhas, and then he reported to his guru, Milarepa. Then Milarepa, what he said, it's not good sign. It's not good. It's not bad sign. You just focus on your practice, If that case the root guru is not there, then might he be stuck there, He cannot enhance, he cannot move forward the practices. You got it, yeah? That is their way. If you are a serious practitioner, then we do need to have a root guru. Similar to like that way, when Marpa Lotsawa and Milarepa, when they separated, when they went separated, and then Marpa Lotsawa, he gave a small piece of paper to Milarepa. And then Marpa Lotsawa, he said, okay, now when you are going to do the practice of that particular Dakartaso, one of the mountain, and then one occasion might you face some kind of obstacle for your channels and winds. So that time, and then you open this letter and look at that one. And exactly Milarepa, when he was doing practices, and then one occasion he got so much disturbance in his mind through the blockage of channel and bindus and winds, etc. And that time he opened that letter of Milarepa, and then he found the answer what to do at that stage, Because Marpa Lotsawa, he already passed through that kind of spiritual journey. He knew when he reached certain level what kind of difficulties, problem that he will face, Therefore, now, in that case, if we are serious practitioners, then yes, we do need to have a root guru. Does it make sense? Hello? Good? Okay, so that I thought that's quite important to have this explanation. So therefore, okay, now, I think I better to go now. The next steps. There are many very interesting, actually, the explanation about the part of the Gongchik. But maybe now we go more next. Now I will read the next transmission because still Lord Rinpoche wants me to read many other transmissions, so I think better to be, otherwise we stuck there. Because when I see all the Gongchik, every Vajra statement is quite interesting, to wanted to explain, but we don't have much time, Okay.
Read this.
You have to read that one, yeah?
We'll have the transmission for this.
Yes. Okay, now I would like to give the transmission of the next, second interdependent origination, the chapter, the Tendel. There are 15 Vajra statement. So now I'm going to read transmission Tibetan. Then I would like to request the Lord Rinpoche to read that one, and then we just do a little explanation. 다 개와당 미개와 롱마된 숨도 셰 모기 데니 게미게 니수 타제나 롱마된 메버라 셰도 똑바 안보암 셔다 직체 중으로 도도 제마와 망모기 데니 동이 직체를 메족진 셈바라 전에 미개와 셰도 셈 지르교와라 캬바라기 셔 셈레 중으로 도바 이모기 데니 셈레 중알레 셈 중으로 셰도 코르와니 셈 코나 임바르 도무기 데니 코르왈루 코레 제자와라 제도 덴데 중이나 마릭바 차지도 도바 이모기 데니 덴데 중이 마릭바 요바라 제도 덴데 중이니 차숨 듬부르 숨도 조바도바 이모기 데니 덴데 중이 까직마이라 상와라 제도 로게 감기 체 나조당 중선 미라와 다니 녀바라 매버라 숨바도바 이모기 데니 셈 타데고 왕이 나왕 타데바라 제도 대도 탐전에 원길레 코나라 할라바드바 이모기 되니 따다니도 강르베 제불라 롱저바인 바 셰도 페립기도니 랑징기 중알라 탑미파베 인바 더모기 되니 되기 페와라당 지바 다다랑 자료바인 바 셰도 다다르기 두수 깨네 용결당 렌장장랑 용화 마도 통전이 민중화 이바 더모기 되니 세디랑라 통조 조로 중화인 바 셰도 미쇼 추투라 소바니 미쇼 인라 하죠 대당 셴바인바 도바인목이 되니 미쇼 주룩라 속바양 하죠당 지긴바를 셰도 덴바 나게 타줄레 데비도스 원도 송아 친에 데부 토바라 민중화 도바인목이 되니 팔체중레 데부 도바 규마체바인바 셰도 라바 숨라 라바 초dim기 라바 원도 중화 도바인목이 되니 라바 시랍기 라바 원도 조앙 요바라 셰도 템바당 람게 림바 탐전에 림기 냠슬랑으로도 봐 이모게 데네 람림 탐제 톤지게 나도 냠슬랑와 임바라 셰도 징주도 상게 직레 민중화 임바 도바 이모게 데네 상게 망보 직도 규메 잡아 중화 임바 셰도 땡데 군라 펜발라 dorjesum 종아바데 감미바오. Please read in English.
This is from chapter 2, the chapter.
Dependent origination, right?
Yeah, this is chapter 2, the chapter on dependent origination or dependent arising, 15 statements. Again, the first statement is the statement that Jigten Simgun is responding to, which is in the second statement for each of these. Virtue, non-virtue, and the neutral have been taught as the three alternatives. Having determined virtue and non-virtue as the two alternatives, there is no neutral position. People claim that several thoughts or different phenomena may arise simultaneously in the mental continuum. Two thoughts cannot occur simultaneously and two minds cannot arise together. People claim that mind is the basis and mental events are the particulars. Mind also arises from mental events. People claim that it is only the mind that transmigrates in samsara. It is the body that transmigrates in samsara. People claim that cognitive misorientation, or what is normally translated as ignorance, is merely one aspect of dependent arising. All 12 links of dependent arising are the movements of ignorance, of cognitive misorientation. People claim that the 12 limbs of dependent arising are complete in 3 parts or sections. The 12 links of dependent arising are also complete in a single instant. People claim that the different measures and forms of appearance of the realms of the world were taught without certainty. Due to the dispositions of the minds, the appearances too are different. People claim that all happiness and suffering depend solely on the deeds of previous lives. The result of what one presently accomplishes will be enjoyed in the present time. People claim that the increase and decrease of the lifespan arise by themselves and that the methods of practice have no impact on that. The increase and decrease of lifespan is possible even now. People claim that except for what is experienced during the present life and what is experienced many lifetimes from now, as a result of previous and present acts. Results of present acts do not arise as phenomena experienced in this very life. Results mainly arise as the phenomena experienced in this very life. People claim that the 16 pure codes of men and so on are the codes of men and that the divine codes differ from them. The 16 pure codes of human beings and so on and the divine codes have the same vital point. People claim that since the periods of results within the 10 times 500 years of the teachings has already passed, after that it does not occur that one obtains results. Except for the predominantly greater and lesser numbers, the obtaining of results continuously occurs. People claim that within the 3 trainings, the superior training of disciplined conduct proceeds. It also occurs that the superior training of discriminative knowledge proceeds. People claim that one practices all stages of the teachings and the path in succession. One practices all stages of the path in each single session. People claim that not more than one single Buddha arises in a single Buddha field. Many Buddhas appear continuously in a single Buddha field.
So, good. So now, this is the second chapter. The second chapter is mostly talking about the interdependency that mostly we always talk about the 12-link interdependent. And but very interesting is that the Vajra statement, usually we always talk about there are 3 kind of action. As the first Vajra statement as mentioned, the virtue, the non-virtue, and the neutral have been taught as 3 alternatives. But the Jigten Sungwon, his view is having a determined virtue and non-virtue as the 2 alternatives. There are no neutral action. Lungmat and Tibetan go Gewa is virtue, Migewa is non-virtue, and Lungma Tempa means that which is the no virtue and non-virtue is kind of neutral, yeah. So it's very interesting, you know. So the scholars, they do say, oh, there are actually the 3 actions. Example like sleeping or just eating food. Is it virtue? Is it non-virtue? Of course, mostly people say this is a neutral. And just sleeping. Is it just neutral? It's not virtue, it is non-virtue. There are many kind of classification. Even in the Abhidharma in the Loma Temple Chuksum, I think it's there in the Abhidharma that was composed by Abhidharma Vasubandhu. They are actually also mentioned there are 13 types of neutral kind of actions, you know, is mentioned there. But again, the question is that why Jigten Sungwon, he says there's no neutral actions, you know. But it's very interesting that because, of course, it looked like when we just look at suffrage level, it looks like very strange and something sounds very different, But when we also try to look into very deeper way, and then of course what Jigten Sungwon says, what Jigten Sungwon mentioned, what is something, it has a big, deep meaning, you know. Jigten Sungwon also, he gave one example saying that if someone, the family has 3 family members, if somebody asks, how many family members do you have? Yeah, we have 3. Me, my father and mother and 1 son. Let's say 3 people, you know. Then when we categorize into female and male, there's only 1 son and 1 father is male. And then female 1, there's only, we divide into female and male, there's 2 sections. There's no other than male and female. Jigten Sungwon also give one example. When we count as a number wise, there are 3 people, but then also when we make into as a categories, and then there's only male and female. There's no others kind of something, you know. So similar to that way, what Jigten Sungwon, he meant to say is that actually when we look into very subtle way, even like we are sleeping one. Ultimately, there are actually not really maybe we are not committing some kind of negative karma, so therefore it might be not really obscuration of the karma. Might you don't have any kind of like very strong sort of anger or attachment or something, so therefore there is not such an action of afflicting emotions, but while we are sleeping, still there are actually very deep, sort of subtle of the obscuration of knowledge of object that when he mentioned, which is we call like Shechediva. There are actually, until we achieve enlightened mind, there is always we are controlled by a certain kind of afflicting emotions, whether it's karmic one, whether it's afflicting emotion, or maybe the subtle obscuration of knowledge. We are always there, covered by all these kind of afflicting emotions. Until we become a Buddha, until we achieve enlightened mind, there are actually more or less we do have a kind of maybe some kind of afflicting emotions are not in a very action mood, but still there's hidden on our habitual tendency. So therefore, what Jigdan Sumgun mean to say is that, so if we really truly, when we analyze or examine on such a things, so we cannot find other than virtue and non-virtue, we cannot find other, the third action and anything. And Jigdan Sumgun also, he give one example is that like, when we throw different seeds, let's say maybe lentil, rice, barley, pea, all these kind of different mixed seeds, if you throw on the field, might grow differently. We do say, oh, this is the mixed field, Or we say this, oh, this is the champa, this flower is a mix. We do say like that, but when we analyze, examine very thoroughly in a deeper way, each kind of like the particles, actually, it comes out from the specific seeds. Cannot become mixed, We do say, oh, this is the mix. Even we say this is the mix something, but cannot be. Jigdan Sumgun say cannot be mixed actually. There's we said that, oh, this is the mixed flower, because there's everything. But if we really emphasize in the very deeper way, it cannot be mixed. It comes out of each cause and condition, or particularly each different seed is growing, Does it make sense? So that's the really one thing that Jigdan Sumgun mentioned is very unique, So there are actually there are lots of argument in the kind of the Gongchik and also the Sakyapa, the text Sakyapanti that composed the Domsum. There's a lot of argument regarding this matter. However, the Jigdan Sumgun stand is like that. And another thing is that mostly we say, I don't know here in the West, mostly don't say, but in the Tibetan community, or maybe we the Himalayan region, the community, we always say that, oh, now everything is because of our karma. We can't change anything. We always blame on karma, But here's not much, but in the Himalaya, we do like that, We always blame on karma. What we can do is because of karma. We always say karma, karma. Still, we cannot change everything. But Jigdan Sumgun very, as the Lord Rinpoche already say, not everything is your own previous karma. Usually we do say that. Even the Buddha actually said that whatever you done in your previous life, you can see in this life. What will happen in your next life, you can see in this life karma. Usually we say like that way, but ultimately we cannot blame on karma everything, thinking that. So Jigdan Sumgun said that everything you can change even in this single life. And now, I think since we have a good enough, the sharp kind of wisdom, now I can see whatever we are facing now, problems are mostly human-made problem, isn't it? Nowadays, what things are happening, it's not that actually only the karma or something somebody does or something, human-made problem, what things are happening around us, the war, what things are, the maximum of things are happening, our human-made problem, because of our greedy, because of our whatsoever the cause and condition, we are facing unnecessary, because of we are facing global warming. Why? Because of we are consuming excessively, we are consuming more than what we needed. Because of our greedy, we are actually facing all these kind of global warming, all this problem. So therefore, basically, the Jigten Sumgun, he said that very clearly. You see that here, what he said that. I would like to say that. Let's share that one now. Yeah, it's a 9-1. Yes, yeah. Some others said that people claim. Some said that the people claim that all the happiness and sufferings are depend on solely only on the deeds of the previous life. Most people they say like that, but Jigten Sumgun he said that. He said the result of the what one presently accomplished will be enjoyed in the presence. Not only we cannot only complain with our previous karma, Usually, I think many of you might already heard about that. Usually we talk about there are, when we summarize all the karma, there are actually we divide into 4. They're called the karmas. All the karmas are divided into 4. The one karma we call, that Tibetan we call Keneng Yongyur. The Keneng Yongyur means that the karma that which you will face or which you experience the result immediately right after your death. Yeah, that kind of, there are actually one karma. It's a virtue or non-virtue, doesn't matter. That the karma, the result will effect immediately right after your death. So basically your next life, that kind of karma, there's one karma is like that. That we call Keneng Ngungyur. Right after you birth somewhere, you will experience the result of the karma. That's the number 1. And then the second type of karma is the Lendang Zhenlang Yongyur. Lendang Zhenlang Yongyur, that karma means that you will experience the result of the karma is another lifetime, maybe 10 times your some other future, maybe 100 times, or maybe 1,000 times later, that 1,000 lifetimes after might you will experience the result of the karma, whatever you accumulated in this life, that the result will affect to the 1,000 life after. That's also, the one karma is like that. That's the second type of karma. And then the third type of karma is that we call like that Nyonga Mangepa. Nyonga Mangepa is not certainty. Not certainty, that means if you committed kind of the virtue, maybe good deeds, in your upper life, you committed lots of virtue. In your lower part of your life, maybe if you committed lots of negative karma, whatever you accumulated, the positive deeds in your earlier time, all this can be washed away because of your accumulated lots of negative karma. So in that case, so the result won't be affected because you already clear away. If you committed again negative karma a lot in the earlier stage of your life, and at the end of your life, you may realize that, oh, whatever I have done in my earlier time of the life was something totally mistake. If you got through your strong regardless, if you manage to confess, all things be clear away. There's no more room for experiencing the result of that karma, So therefore, uncertainty. So that means they cannot be affected, the karma. That's what we call Nyonga Mangyeba. And then the last one is the fourth one. As here Jigten Sumgun he's mentioned that one, that the karma that which you can experience within in this life. Regarding that matter, the king, actually the Makeda, I don't know what is called in Makeda in Sanskrit, the king Makeda. Anyway, the one of the king actually at the time of the Buddha Shakyamuni. And Makeda, he could not understand about when Buddha Shakyamuni was giving the explanation about all these, the 4 karmic stuffs. And he could not understand what about the karma that which you can experience within this life. And then the king Makeda, he asked the Buddha, can you explain more detail about what is the definition? What do you mean the karma of that's experienced within this life? Then King Makeda said to the king, okay, let's one of your attendant, one of your servant, he said, one of your servant, if he or she become a monk today, will you still treat him or her as still your attendant, still your servant? Then the king said no, because once he become a monk or nun, then even he is a king, he has to pay respect. He cannot, treat as his servant, anymore, because he or she become a monk. So that is the Buddha said. This is actually the karma of that which can see within this life, And Jigten Sumgon also, he said that if you say, oh, you are very good in shooting arrow, then he might say, oh, you are much better than mine. Maybe if you say, oh, your hairstyle is very good, looking very nice, you might say, oh, your hairstyle is much better than mine. Positive reaction, If you say you are not good person, you are a bad person too, you will get that kind of reaction. So Jigten Sumgon said, this is actually also the karma of within this life that we are experiencing, If you say something good for other, you will get a good reaction. If you say something bad thing, you will get a bad reaction. That is actually the karma. Karma does not mean something that we have to be only thinking about the previous or next life, So therefore, actually, there are four the types of the karma are there. That's very important to explain. And then also, here also very interesting is that, where is that one? But here anyway, the one Vajra statement mentioned that every phenomena we are seeing due to our different kind of mental positions. Am I right? Different mental positions. Because whatever you see, I can't see. Whatever you see, even the one single object we can see differently. Maybe might you like this food, might you like that food. Might you like this one, might you don't like that one. So because each of things are actually reacting through the different our kind of mental the positions. Regarding this matter, actually one time I asked one question to Toldan Rinpoche, who already passed away. Because Rinpoche, he is the great treasure master. He has footprint and handprint, and he's extraordinary master. You can even you go to Ladakh, you can see all these holy things that Rinpoche did. Then one time I asked Rinpoche, how you manage? Because for us it's quite difficult to make a handprint on a very hard dough. Kind of dough, is it? How you manage to do the handprint on such a solid rock, Rinpoche say, oh, this is so easy. He said, how easy, Rinpoche la? I said, Then Rinpoche said, so now we have a kind of our mental, our position is that we are we have some kind of fixation is there, We always think about this is subject and this is object. This is the kind of object and subject. That kind of, we already created such a kind of fixation through our own afflicting emotion, through our own ego. We created such a kind of environment, always thinking this is mine and this object, this is subject. That kind of, we are diluted by our own kind of, what do you call that? Yeah, obscurations actually, basically. And the Rinpoche said that once occasion, sometimes when the yogi, the masters, when they meditate in the state of the nature of mind, and certain occasion the things are happening, that is the outer appearances, and then our own minds become a oneness. There's no room for the physical kind of appearances, and this is mind. All the physical appearances and the mind become a oneness at that stage of the meditation stage, and then one can put the handprint and footprint that Rinpoche mentioned, I was very impressed by whatever he mentioned, So therefore he's talking about here Jigten Sumgon also mentioned that whatever we are seeing is seeing whatever the differently is because of our own different kind of mental positions, It's not really exists out there. If there exists out there truly something, then we all have to see the same thing. We all have to experience same thing. Maybe if I like this tea, then you also have to like the tea. But we don't like maybe, some like tea, some like coffee, some like differently. Whatever you like, I don't like, So therefore, something is not exists out there on the object, You got it? That's the Rinpoche mentioned. Okay. We have to have a short break then. Is it? Not yet. No, then is it the 4 o'clock that?
Oh, yeah, 4.
Is it a tea break? If not, I'm okay to.
15 minutes, just stretch. 15 minutes.
Because I was told if you are Western country, you have to be
On time.
follow the time.
Otherwise, they fire you. We'll take 15 minutes break, then we'll come back, and today we'll end at 4. Yeah? So we'll take 15 minutes break. Om Vajra Sattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishtati Do Membawa
Sodo
Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Kuru Hong Ha Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajra Mame Muncha Vajre Bhava Samaya Sato A. Vajra Sattva Samaya Anupalaya Vajra Sattva Tenopa Tishtati Do Membawa Suto Kayo Membawa Supo Kayo Membawa Anurato Membawa Sarva Siddhi Mempreyacha Sarva Karma Sucha Me Chitam Shreya Guru Hong Ha Ho Bhagavan Sarva Tathagata Vajra Mame Muncha Vajre Bhava Maha Samaya Sato.
Okay, welcome back. Is it okay? This is working? Basically, one of the important thing is that Jiten Sumgon, he said that whatever we do, the practice has to combine with fivefold Mahamudra, Shage. Mahamudra, the fivefold Mahamudra, basically that generating bodhicitta, and then also the Guru, and then also generating idam, the deity, and then practicing about the Mahamudra, and then also the dedication. So this we so-called fivefold mudra. So therefore, the Gongchik is actually, when we talk about in the detail, so it's not other than fivefold Mahamudra actually. I don't know whether it's already translated. It's very good to study about that. The Gongchik is called so-called Gongchik Kokbup. I think that would be nice to translate. I don't think it's translated. The Kokbup means the framework, So their explanation about the kind of summary of the whole the Gongchik, why there are 8 chapters, why the chapters are categorized into 7 chapters, and then what means of Gongchik, what means of Vajra statement. They're kind of like the framework. That's very nice, actually, explanation. In that, actually, there are more detailed explanation about the why these things are combined with the fivefold Mahamudra. Maybe tomorrow if we find time, so I also would like to explain, and maybe we do short together practice that is very interesting. I do whenever I get some time. Another very important teaching from the Jiten Sumgon is so-called one medicine for 100 disease. It's Negya Manchik, I don't know that was translated, but in Tibetan actually his Eminence Nupa Rinpoche, he compiled all these because meditators, mostly since they live in the mountain area, isolated area, whenever they got physical challenges, of course they don't have any doctors, so they have to treat themselves through the visualizations. Of course, there's no special medicine or something. Through the practice of fivefold Mahamudra, that's a kind of practice of dealing with our handed disease by one medicine, so-called fivefold Mudra. It is very interesting, So maybe tomorrow, we can go together and then we can practice that one. And because when I invited Nupad Rinpoche in Ladakh to 2018, those days I got some also health issue, and I requested Rinpoche, and he gave me that teaching, so might be very interesting for your daily life practice, Okay, that one for tomorrow. So, okay, now the next one is the chapter for Vinaya. So now we already completed the transmission of 2 chapters, and then now the 3rd chapter is talking about the Vinaya, 4th chapter is talking about the Bodhisattva, and the 5th chapter is talking about the Tantrayana, basically 3 vows. It's very interesting, So again, so far as I will read in Tibetan that the 3rd chapter as a transmission, there are 20 Vajra statement, and then I would like to request you to read after that. Gajig logi tambe chu dulwe di tekba chungru doba mangmogi deni dulwa tekba tumong yimbara shedo dulwani tekba chungu bajigdo nyebe tekba chimbo mayimbar doba mangmogi deni lakpara tekba chimbara jubwa sawara shedo gagdubgi labe tsudimni nyandogi luksu doba yinmogi deni tsudim rinpoche tamja kembe ishe konar yimba shedo bardo chebe chodang dambala dombara mikebara doba yinmogi deni gejangi dribu tobe parchela domba kewe parche mayimbar shedo dombe ngoni pongwe sem sabondang chabala doba lekbar mangmogi deni dombe ngo nambarikje mayimbe susu shedo donga tamchala dushe zo dang ngobo zo ngisu doba yinmogi deni donga tadala cheba dushe zo yimbar shedo sodo tabe dombani pongwa dun kordang cheba doba yinmogi deni iki namba sumbonga yimbar shedo 치포와라 소베 domba tongwa doba yimogi deni tongwe gyu tedagi midongwa yang yoba yimba shedo pamba 직중나 domba 탐제 직대 개종도 미롱와 doba yimogi deni bolon norchangi doba yimba shedo 동화 직중나 대행예배 만도로 동화라 샹도 민규로 이제 제목이 되니 나직 송배 되고 양알라 대바 임바 셔도 랑신 미낭 각바 인생 제반이 난가게 제바 임바 도목이 되니 제바당 랑신이 카나마도 직바 임바 셔도 랑시 유메기 딕바당 동화 타대바 임바 도바 이목이 되니 딕바당 동화 타대 매진 직바 임바 셔도 제바니 제베된장 gelong 갱행 코나라 제바 임바 도목이 되니 제바 담제 루둑 찔라 제바 임바 셔도 도와 잔달라 제바라 대경 녜바 메버도바 이목이 되니 도둑 관계 제바라 다경 녜바 메종와 임바 셔도 라바 랑베 제바 송나 파인 귤라 셴마 송바도바 이목이 되니 도둑 관계 송경 파인 체버제도 제바다니 깰라 또베 자 가제기 난가 세나 녜메도 규라 도바 이목이 되니 까바 녜메도 규 미세베 찔까바 담제 예가 예낭 임바 셔도 초가메버 송경 초거도바 이목이 타과 이목이 되니 템발라 탑케베 고네 라버 임바 초가 라버 가체와 임바 셔도 녜바 담자리 착바당 착바 제당 체버도바 미셰바 충을 시험하게 되니 미셰바 띠묵 라버 녜바 가체와 임바 셔도 만돌라니 냐와 멤버 두도 통화도바 이목이 되니 두도 체베 띠묵 멤버 임바 셔도 라버 랑베 녜바 찰라 칠라 도네 마토바 도바네 녜바 메바 도모이 디르네 녜베 녜바베 마토바 녜바 치바레 셔도 돌라 수도 타바네 도게 도제증 이슈 담발라 첨 습상 갑숨바오
Many people claim that the Vinaya basket, that is an excellent dharma of others, belongs to the lesser vehicle. The Vinaya is common to all vehicles. Many people claim that the Vinaya is not Mahayana, since it is only ascertained as a lower vehicle. It is obvious that the Vinaya is even more present within the Mahayana. People claim that disciplined conduct of the training in rejecting and accepting is a dharma of the Shravakas. All of the precious disciplined conduct is the gnosis of the omniscient one. People claim that the vows do not arise for those who possess impeding qualities. All the impediments to the arising are impediments to obtaining the fruit. There are many who claim that the opinion that the essence of the vows is the mind of abandonment, together with the seed and so forth, is correct. The essence of the vows is imperceptible form. People claim that both a perception and the entity are the principal points in all transgressions. In all transgressions, the intention is the principal point. People claim that the vows of pratimoksha are the 7 non-virtuous actions of body and speech which are given up together with their limbs. We teach that chiefly the 3 non-virtuous states of mind must be abandoned. People claim that the vows are abandoned through death and so forth. It is also possible that the pratimoksha vows are not abandoned through these causes of abandoning. People claim that if a single transgression occurs, the outcome of that fault will be nothing but falling into the lower realms. One attains nirvana as the result of guarding a single vow. Many people claim that a misdeed by nature is prohibited and not permitted, while for a misdeed by rule, there are occasions when they are permitted and occasions when they are prohibited. Misdeed by rule and misdeed by nature are the same. People claim that the rules were only bestowed on those who possess the support for the rules, namely monks and novices. The king of the 3 realms has bestowed the rules on beings in general. People claim that evil and transgression, being that by nature or not, are different. Evil and transgression are not different but the same. People claim that since rules depend on conditions, when that which is now prohibited by rule was still permitted, there was no fault. In general, whatever the Buddha prohibits is inverterately prohibited. Whatever he permits is inverterately permitted. People claim that for those who take the training, benefit will arise if they guard the rules, but this is not the case for others who have not taken the training. Benefit will arise through guarding the rules by any of the beings of the 6 realms.
Okay. Yeah, this is very kind of the Vinaya. It's a completely very different from the other master where they explains. So maybe you already understood a little bit about the Lord Rinpoche reading the one thing that the last Vajra statement is mentioned that I think the most of us or most people believe that if you cannot, you see that people claim that when one has taken up the training, it is serious to commit it faults, but that not have taken up vow is without faults. So most people will believe like that, you know. Oh, if you can't option without. But Jiten Sumgon said, it is thought that the faults of the not obtaining the vow is greater than the faults of impaired vow. So that means without obtaining the vow is kind of actually more, how to say, more sinner, we would say, like. Basically, the words is not really.
Yeah. Basically. Yeah. So, do you understand up to this point what Khenchen Rinpoche is saying? Yeah. So there's this idea. Well, I didn't promise not to do that. So if I do that, it's fine. You know, there's this attitude.
Yes.
And Jiten Sumgon says, actually,
good to.
it's better to take
The vow.
the promise, right? To make the vow and fail. If you fail, it's better that you have taken the promise and you have failed than to think, I'm not going to take the promise. So if I fail, there's no fault.
Yes. You see, now that's you have to think, But the reason why, oh, is somebody translating, Luisa? Is it somebody translating into different?
Into Spanish.
Oh, Tashidale, good. Good. Oh, that's good. Okay. Yes, actually, it's really makes sense. What happened is that sometimes, I did not take. I didn't take any vows. I didn't take any full ordination vows. I didn't take any Gangyan vow. I didn't take any upasika whatsoever. I am fine. I did not make any promise. So as if, okay, the most lay people, what they do, I'm okay allowed to drink alcohol because I'm not monk, I'm not nun. Yeah, as if there's no fault, isn't it? But of course, even like you see, the thing is that even you becoming a monk or nun is something another matter. But even you assuming that I'm a not monk and nun, if you keep thinking that I allow to drink alcohol, of course the fault is there actually. How many people, how many families got the problem of some people who get the drunk and all money spent there, and then the family become a big trouble, and then they cannot look after the family member, cannot look up. That's happened in, I don't know in the West, but much in the Asia, in the Himalayan region area. Actually, if the someone in the house, the father is drunker, and the whole family is spoiling, So therefore, actually, what Jigten Sumgon is saying is that one should not actually ignore about saying that, I'm not monk or nun, I did not make any commitment, I did not take any kind of vows, thinking that if you consume everything as it is allowing to you, it does not mean that there is no sin. It doesn't mean there is no effective. There are actually effective. If you committed any kind of negative karma, it doesn't matter whether it's a monk or a nun, there is effective there, So then the next question is that level, then why Buddha did not say? Question we ask, why Buddha said to only monks and nuns, That many bhikshu or bhikshuni, mostly whenever Buddha makes the rule, there are actually altogether 200 plus for the full ordination, and then also there are certain number for the nuns, full ordination nuns, and then Sharmanirya as well. There are actually different numbers, and then each time whenever the Buddha makes such a kind of like precepts, why Buddha say monks and nuns? Why he referring to the monks and nuns? Why he did not say to everybody? And then Jigten Sumgon, his answer is that of course actually is for everybody. Because Buddha Shakyamuni very clearly, right at the beginning, he said that Dikpachi or Mijajing, don't do any kind of negative karmas. He only clearly said, that's the two messages that Buddha gave right at the time of the while when he was giving teachings about the Four Noble Truth. He clearly mentioned that don't commit any kind of negative karma. That is kind of that statement for everybody, not only for kind of certain community, Do whatever kind of like merit, accumulation merit, do whatever we possible to accumulate merits. Go ahead, do it. That's message for everybody, To any kind of negative deeds, we have to abandon any kind of the virtue that is good thing. So we have to commit it. We have to practice it. That kind of message is right from the beginning. Buddha already messages given to everybody, But of course, in the certain cases in the Vinaya, Buddha said this is a rule for monks and this is a rule for nuns and etc. is because the Buddha is very skillful person. Even Buddha tried to say something for everybody. Buddha knows that it's not going to be applicable. Can I say? is not applicable for everybody, Even that whatever Buddha makes the rules or precepts for the monks and nuns, even that is quite difficult to keep all those the precepts, all those the rules for the monks and nuns, whatever Buddha mentioned in the Vinaya. Even the monks, the Sangha community, quite difficult to carry out for those rules. How it possible to practice by whole everyone, community. So therefore, example like if there, then also there was given one example by Jiten Sungwan saying that, let's say if there are 5 the kids for one parents, and if the one parents out of maybe out of 4. Out of 5, if the one person is in a very one child is very good, and the 4 are a little bit naughty and not very difficult to listen to the parents, and then first, what they do is the parents try to deal with that the child that who is already little bit, who are in a very stable, who is little bit in a very calmness mind. The parents skillfully try to deal with that one, and then accordingly, step by step, also he or parents try to do with all other the 5 children. If the 5 out of 5 children, and there's someone who are very disturbed mind, maybe difficulty, maybe due to addicted to something, the parents cannot say everything, because he or she is their mental level is unstable, So parents has to deal very skillfully, So similar to that way, so Buddha Shakyamuni actually basically whatever he makes a rule for the monks, mentioning the name of the monks and nuns is because Buddha knows that is not applicable for the everyone. So therefore skillfully he just saying that, oh, this is for the monks and nuns. Ultimately, so whatever is actually Buddha teaches is for everybody. Buddha make a rule for everyone, not only for the specific community. That's a very something. And then also why Jiten Sungwan is, he said that is the better to take the vow than even though you cannot keep for a long time, better to take the vows than not taking at all. The meaning is that, you see, let's say at the beginning of the time while we are receiving the vow, according to the Vinaya, the monks or nuns, he or she has to have some kind of motivation that, okay, I'm going to keep the vow for all my life. If you have that kind of intention, okay, I will keep for only 1 year, I will keep a certain period of time, you are not going to receive the vow. Actually, you have to have. Of course, after you taking the vows, certain time, certain years, then due to different cause and condition, and sometimes cannot give the vow, and some, of course, disrupt due to certain cause and conditions. He cannot keep longer. But yet, if somebody already disrupt, and then also he according to the Vinaya, he or she has to go to somebody's abbot in front of maybe Lama whom you receive the vow, or anybody, you have to go and you have to confess, saying that I'm so sorry, I cannot keep my vows anymore. I would like to, actually they have to give back this kind of, the robes, have to give back to the hand to the master, and then also have to do some confession, saying that I cannot keep no longer my vows, and that please take back my whatever vow or something, So therefore, the meaning is that the somebody who did not take the vow right from the beginning, he or she thinks that I'm okay, I am fine, I'm free, I don't need to do any confess because I did not make any commitment or something. They do more kind of obvious way, all these kind of negative things, assuming that I am allowing everything allowed to do, The person who took vow, and then after some time who lost the vow, and then still he or she still have some kind of regretness in their mind, and then try to do as much as possible the confessing the negative karma, and try to do some kind of confession in front of the certain monks. So therefore, that is the very kind of the skillful way of confessing negative karma. Regarding this matter, Vasubandhu also he gave one example. That's also I like very much. He gave one example saying that sometimes we, again here Jigten Sungwan also he says here, some people claim that concerning all faults, desire and especially hatred are greater faults, while not knowing is a lesser faults. Some people thinking, oh, if I don't know, I'm okay because I don't know, therefore I committed some kind of negative karma. As it is, I don't have any kind of faults, If I did out of anger, out of desire, out of jealousy, as it is, we think that, oh, I'm committing very heavier kind of like negative karma. If I do out of ignorance, we think that many people, we believe and we say like that, yeah, I did because I don't know. Oh, is this true? Is there something wrong? Oh, I did not know, I did it. Something, so doing something without knowing, without ignorant, we feel like lesser negative karma, or we feel like there's no negative karma at all, doing something by out of ignorance. But Jigten Sungwan is saying that doing something by out of ignorance is heavier than doing through the hatred and anger or attachment. Again, sounds very little bit strange, But regarding that matter, the Vasubandhu he gave one example. If there is the iron ball, maybe this size of iron ball, looks like very small. If we just try to put onto the surface of water, what will happen? Sink. Yeah? Looks like even the size is very small because this iron ball is very small, but it will sink. It won't it float on the surface of water. But that same kind of like the metal one, if you made it through the hammer, if you make it as if like a pot, it's like a plate, it will floating on the water, it won't sink. So he give one example, even though the person who has full of ignorance, if he committed even the small any kind of negative karma, so that will cause to sink, cause to go to the deep kind of like the kind of health, If somebody like the scholar one wise person, even he or she did some kind of negative karma, because he know after he committed, then he could confess. He know what he did was wrong. Of course, while during the time of the action might be through the out of control, ignorance or whatsoever, he did it. But immediately in the second moment, then he will, oh, what I did was wrong. I shouldn't have done that one. Then he can, instead of rejoicing, instead of thinking that, okay, I did it without mistake, but he could confess and he can say sorry, he can confess. And so therefore, even the ignorant person did a small things, it can be seen as a like iron ball. In the wise person, even he or she committed a big kind of like sin as a like the plate, without sinking without going into the hell realm, he can floating on the water, similar to that way. So he cannot go into the hell. He can confess all his karma. It makes sense. Does it make sense or not?
Yes.
That's the Jigten Sungwan way of saying. Nobody say like that. Yeah, when we think like that at the beginning, actually, we always feel like something. If a person who already keep hearing others' teachings from the various other master, we always say like that. Some also say that if you cannot keep the vow, better to not to take the vow at all. So then you are being just a lay person is fine. So then you are allowed to do whatever. It does not mean that being a lay person is allowed to do everything. So therefore nowadays, the Dharma, we should not make a kind of excuses. Sometimes, I don't know how let's say tomorrow we do a talk, Earlier time, I remember that when we do talk in Europe for some centers, sometimes when we do talk together, and then excusing by the using a sok, and they drink a lot of alcohol. Almost each person bringing bottles of wine, and then at the end, then I asked, I stopped it. I asked not to do that one. Of course, of course, as a kind of like the samaya substance we call, samaya substance. Of course, we need to use the nectar during the sok. And then just put a little bit of kind of like some dharma pills, and then just assuming that, since we don't have such a kind of great, that kind of capacity to transform into nectar, as like Guru Rinpoche, as like the great yogi Birwapa. Of course, just by saying the mantra of Ha, Ho, Shi, usually like that, Ha, by reciting mantra of the Ha, Ho, Shi, if someone managed to transform the color, if someone managed to transform the energy, if someone transferred to the taste into nectar, saying by just Ha, Ho, Shi mantra, then the alcohol is already transformed into nectar. That is become like medicine. If somebody managed to transform that kind of, nowadays, of course, in the poison also used in the medicine, it's not that direct the poison, it's had to be through different chemicals had to be used, Similar to that way, sometimes we should not actually misuse the dharma, assuming that, so therefore since we don't have kind of such a power to transforming the alcohol into nectar, so of course, that's another very important meaning, Jigdan Sumgun also said that whatever is prohibited in the Vinaya, it is also prohibited in the whole vehicles at all, Whatever is permitted, allowed to do, is it permitted to all vehicles? Not that according to Vinaya, let's say, according to Vinaya, you are not allowed to drink alcohol. It does not mean that in the Tantrayana, you're allowed to drink alcohol. It does not mean like that, Many people say like that, Oh, you are Vinaya, you are the monks or nuns, okay, you are not allowed. Oh, we are Ngakpa, we are practitioner of Tantrayana, let's drink alcohol. Today Guru Rinpoche talk and something, As it is, we are saying, but that's absolutely, Jigdan Sumgun said, that's totally wrong, Whatever is prohibited, Jigdan Sumgun said, whatever is prohibited, right from the Buddha always prohibited. Whatever is permissible, whatever is permitted to do, right from the beginning, Buddha permitted. It's not that Buddha never act as like the crazy way, at the beginning way permitted, and then later on, later stage he prohibited. At the beginning stage he prohibited, later on he permitted. It never do like that, When we look very clearly, and it's really like that, And some people say that, you are the monks and nuns, or you allowed to to do. We are the followers of the Guru Rinpoche. We allow to do chang, and we allow to have a concert. We are the Ngakpa practitioners. That's absolutely nonsense. That's not really. So therefore, of course, then the meaning is that according to Vinaya, there was actually many actually stories also. Usually the monks, they say that actually, you are not allowed to, even in the Theravada country, they are very strict. Usually they don't sit together with the women together, assuming actually they're supposed to be abandon the attachment. You're not allowed to give a shake hand or something in the mostly the Theravada country, because they are really strict with the Vinaya rules. So therefore, of course, and the Buddha said that what happens if somebody is one girl or somebody who fell into the water. If the one monk saw the situation, what should do? Then Buddha said that, you have to protect the girl who is sinking in the water. Assuming that as if you are maybe, if the girl is like elder than you have to think as if I'm touching to my mom. If she is younger than you, I'm touching to, assuming as I'm touching to my girl. Or maybe like that in the concept, without having any desire. You have to protect. It's not that thinking that I'm not allowed to touch the girl. If you let it die there, that's the big sin, So therefore, I think this is very, very, very interesting, So therefore, I think it's very good to study this kind of the Jiten Samgun, what he mean to say. And also, I always say that when we talk about usually we say that Jiten Samgun always talk about the three vows. Usually we say that outer Vinaya, inner Bodhisattva Vayana, and then the secret Vajrayana. There's three vows, But Jiten Samgun, he said that is the whatever is permitted, equally same as in the whole three vows. If there's a prohibited, equally same as in the prohibited whole vehicle. Not that somewhere he allows, somewhere he's prohibited, not like that. If we look into very deeper way, Of course, in the suffer way is something like, according to Vinaya, the monk not allowed to touch even the alcohol. In the Tantrayana, we allowed to use the alcohol or something for the talk or something. It look like it's something different ritual, but ultimately, according to Tantrayana also, you are never allowed to drink just ordinary alcohol unless you have a capable to transform into nectar, The Tantrayana very clearly mentioned that you're not allowed to drink alcohol until you have such a power to transform into nectar, So I always say like that, the vows are something, I always give an example like that. All this, the vows are actually equally same, but then why there are three vehicles? Why there are three, always why we said that outer Vinaya, inner Bodhisattva Vayana, then secret the practice, why there's a three vows? Why there's not only one practice? Why there are three? The answer to that is that why there are many medicines? Why there's medicine for elder? Why there's medicine for kids? The kids, the medicine for designed for the child, kids, it's not benefit for taken by the elder people. If whatever we design for our elder people, if we adults, if we try to give it to the kids, that is going to be, instead of benefiting, it's harmful, So therefore, because of the different level, different capacity, so there's three designs, And then when we look kind of a little bit in the deeper way, according to the Vinaya, Buddha Shakyamuni very skillfully saying that since you have a very low capacity, you cannot deal directly with that your afflictive emotions or whatsoever, and rather than consuming, always trying to abandon, you stay away. You understand what I mean? Since like you stay away with the things that which is causing you to increase your attachment, anger, ignorance, whatsoever, you stay away from all of these things because in order not to increase your attachment, not to increase your anger and something, you stay away. So therefore the monks or nuns whatsoever, actually you are not allowed to marry, you're not allowed to stay with girls, you're not allowed to keep a long hair. Basically all this means how try to reduce your attachment, etc. Because since you don't have a direct capacity to deal with those afflictive emotions, being together with those afflictive emotions, live together, So therefore, rather than that, you just stay away. Example like that, to fight with somebody, that the person who are not enough brave to fight with enemy, maybe just like as if throwing stone from the distance, That's I always feel like that, The brave person, he just go and fight there, with a knife whatsoever. The not enough brave person, what he or she do? Or maybe staying from the very distance, or maybe keep shouting. If other person asks to come here and fight with me, then maybe he just run away inside, It could be, it happened like that, because since he is not enough capacity, or maybe not enough strong, not enough brave, and then just try to throw stones and just keep saying. Same as like that, actually, according to the Vinaya, dealing with our afflictive emotion is since the person, he or she has not really enough capacity, so therefore we are dealing like that way. Just stay away, When then second level of when the Bodhisattva Vayana, when it comes to Bodhisattva Vayana, and little bit, the practitioner also has some higher kind of like wisdom and the knowledge and practices talking about the inner importance of loving kindness, compassion, bodhicitta, and the person can think about all mother sentient beings equally as our parents. That kind of his mental level was much advanced and more developed, In that case, and dealing with our anger and attachment in more easily, because since know that all sentient beings as are like, if somebody can genuinely extend their loving kindness and compassion equally, there's no room for increasing our anger. Because everybody is our own parents. Everybody as equally can treat as our own children. Then there's no room for increasing anger. You can see that the differences. That level, our more mature, our mental level become a more developed it, and then very easy to minimize, easy to abandon our. Actually, the enemy is same. Vinaya level, Bodhisattvayana level, Tantarayana level, we have to fight with afflicting emotions. We have to fight with anger. We have to fight with attachment and desire. Equally same, but the way of fighting is something different. In the Bodhisattva level, since the person have a more capacity and easily he can deal with those afflicting emotions, she can minimize through the practice of loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta most. So that's the level. And then the Tantrayana level, and then since the practitioner, he's become a much advanced level, and then he really can fight, as I mentioned earlier, he really can fight, and even the afflicting emotion, he or she can transform into wisdom. Example, usually we always talk about the 5 afflicting emotions are embodiment of 5 wisdoms. So then he can transform. Instead of abandon all this the pleasure object, he or she can, with the tools of the wisdom, with the tools of the practices, he or she can transform into something. So that's always like a fighting. So therefore, I always say that the practicing the Vinaya is something like that. If you go from here to New York just by walk, by foot, it's less danger. It takes long time, but one day we will reach there, And the Bodhisattva level is like the going by a car or by a train. It's faster, but still takes some time, I don't know actually how distant when I have no idea. And then if you go by aeroplane, much faster, but if something happens, there's no chances to survive. So therefore, the Tantrayana also he says that it's just entering the snake into bamboo. He says like that. If the snake enter into bamboo, there's only 2 ways: either it's coming out or coming down. There's no road for coming in the middle. So therefore, actually, Tantrayana is something like that. Says if you really manage to practice without losing your samaya or something, then really it's a very powerful one. Can achieve a lot in mind within the single life. If you cannot, then whenever we receive the empowerment, guru, the master, whatever, always talking about the samaya at the end, and also at the end of the session of the samaya, you have to make some commitment that I will keep the samaya. Sometimes also some initiation, sometimes you have to, they give a kind of dursi, and you have to dursi the nectar. You have to think that is the, how to call that, na kyalwa, how to say. Na kyalwa, I don't know, it's actually a word for that. Actually, that's making a commitment that I'm not going to lose the samaya at all. That's we're drinking the nectar means something like this. So therefore, Tantrayana is really, but ultimately one should not think the practices are differences actually the same. So therefore, Jiten Sumgon says, whatever Buddha mentioned prohibited is always prohibited. Whatever is permissible is always permissible. One should not make a dharma as an excuse, assuming that I'm a practitioner of Tantrayana and as if you're allowed to do everything. Absolutely wrong, Does it make sense? So therefore, I think this is, if you ask, when you meet any master, any other, sometimes you can ask just for maybe just to make a fun, then you will get the answer, nobody will say something like that, If you ask, it's good to take the vow, even though I cannot keep, then nobody say, oh, better not to take at all, better not to take right from. Yeah, that is actually the differences, That's all.
Actually, I miss 4 lines, four Vajra statements. So let me complete this. People claim that no fault exists when one transgresses the rules that were laid down for others. Transgressions of the rules by any being of the 6 realms is an occurrence of fault. There were some who held that it is sufficient to guard the rules without having been introduced to the ordination ritual. We maintain that the ritual is most important for the teachings. People claim that concerning all faults, desire and especially hatred are great faults, while not knowing or ignorance is a lesser fault. Not knowing, that is, delusion, is the much greater fault. People claim that when one has taken up a training, it is serious to commit a fault, but that not to have taken up vows is without fault. It is taught that the fault of not obtaining the vow is greater than the fault of an impaired vow, which is the main point that Khenchen Rinpoche was emphasizing.
That's all. Okay, so now going to the next, I think better now. So now I'm going to read the transmission of the 4th chapter, about the Bodhisattva. There is, I think 24 Vajra statement, if I'm not mistaken. Tekpa chenponi, nginje dang kyabardo chebe, nginje la changchuki semsu doba mangmogi, deni nginje dang changchuki semgi tada yimbra shedo, changchuki semni kewe nyeba mebra domba tenchen ma yimbra doba inmogi, deni tongyamso nyunga changchuki semgi domba tenchen ju shedo, jikwe domba ni satomna kebra doba inmogi, deni sozo kewa layang, jikwa kewa yimbra shedo, domba sumbo tada matubna, jikdomdo migirwa doba inmogi, deni chiriki kyang, surimgi kyang domba kirwa yimba shedo, changchu sembe tonga nyumongba chanda, nyumongja ma yimba nisu doba inmogi, deni nyamongja mayimbe tonga meba imbra shedo changchu chenpo namla gyawara gyurwa migewa nangwa doba immogi deni nyebara mingirwa migewa nangwa meba imbra shedo changchu senpa namgi tabla kebani migewa chobala zirwa doba immogi deni tabla kebe chobala migewa me yona migewa te debu tengi junga imbra shedo nginje chenpo chandu molam deba nang shenki dunga chebara doba immogi deni tabla magana dajan jewa dene yebar giwe kawe ba jedo changju semba nobar jebe gyu da debu dewara doba imogi dene nobe gyu la changju semba dewa doba misiba imba jedo penje gewa phane zoje migewa gyude tada doba imogi dene gyude migewa debu yebar soso jonga imba jedo nakbo chö jila sobo phamba dang da ngi jaba nam changju sembe chorwa doba imogi dene jebar gewa la changju ge semmi chorwa imba jedo deba sum 타데바 도바 이모게 데니 디바송 뇽몽바 디바 임바 치도 셔도 초영이 기 덴바니 도당남베 가나 장보 도바 지바도 이모게 데니 덴바니 도베다 징예바 탐자게 디바 임바 셔도 냔도게 도다니 덴바라 마임바 도바 이모게 데니 냔도게 기 도다양 초책바게 넬로 도바 임바 셔도 셈자바니 총이 도바 미누바 임바도게 데니 셈자바니 사동 용어도 이른도 송아 임바 셔도 사당본에 갸바 도바라 님에 도버도바 이모게 데니 초기 담메바 사게 공데 지바 미가발 임바 셔도 옹바르도나 통람당 파워 로발라 소바심바 타데바도바도바 이모게 데니 토바치게 사나마로바 임바제도 사마도바네 윤데 갸라 중일라 소바도바 이모게 데니 사장베 윤덴 중와 추모두가 임바제도 유소남게 소사발라 데부 이시게 소중와 임바도메게 데니 규람단 데부 탐제 총리 중주도 임바제도 사당 당보양 냥도다랑게 마도바도바 이모게 데니 사두 만제 냥도바다랑 상영원도 토몬도 임바제도 대바충이 제다기 초소베 징라 캬바여바데모게 데니 토만 강도양 징 야담바 나자바 임바제도 다진 메바 코발라 다바다바 다진 뽕어다바 임바게 데니 소남게 초소바치도 다도 중 소사나 타고 임바제도 게베 사와타 랑징기 지담 모와체바도바 임바게 데니 코다 탐자게 게베 사와 모와 임바제도 상게당 전선 발랑 모와 미고바도바 임바게 데니 친라 조바도나 상게당 나마라양 모와 임바제도 라바 장조세베네도 게솜 돌제 세강 이슈 지바데 갑지바오
Compassion is claimed by many people to be the resolve for awakening of bodhicitta, since the great vehicle is made distinctive by compassion. Compassion and bodhicitta are different. People claim that since the arising of bodhicitta is uncertain, the vows of the bodhisattva have no support. The vows of the Bodhisattva's disciplined conduct have a support. People claim that the actualization of the resolve of bodhicitta arises only after a bodhisattva stage has been achieved. The actualization of bodhicitta also arises for ordinary beings. People claim that if one is unable to train in all three observances, this will not become the actualization vow. Any kind of virtuous action will lead to the observance of the disciplined conduct of the bodhisattvas. People claim that the transgressions of the bodhisattvas would be twofold, those that comprise afflictions and those that do not comprise them. There are no transgressions that do not involve afflictions. People claim that non-virtuous deeds are permitted to the great bodhisattvas because they will become virtuous through the bodhisattva's pure intention. There is no permission for a, quote, non-virtue that does not become a fault, unquote. People claim that skillful means of the bodhisattvas refers to committing non-virtue. If a non-virtuous deed occurs, its result will arise even for one who is skilled with regard to means. Out of great compassion, good aspirations are formed for the benefit of others, and the suffering of others is exchanged for one's own happiness. There are cases in which the exchange of self and other is a fault. People claim that through the cause harming a bodhisattva, one makes a connection to the result, happiness. No connection to happiness exists through causing harm to a bodhisattva. People claim that cause and result can be different in nature through a propellant action driven by virtue and a culmination of action culminating in non-virtue. The results of virtue and non-virtue occur separately. People claim that the resolve for awakening is lost through such things as the four dark dharmas, which are faults similar to a defeat. Except for their being the cause of forgetting, it is impossible that bodhicitta is lost through the four dark dharmas. People claim that the three veils differ from one another. The three veils are the veil of afflictions. People claim that the truth of true reality is realized by negating the wrong tenets and mastering the correct one. All systems of tenets obscure the truth. People claim that the systems of tenets of the Shravakas are not true. The Shravakas too perceive one part of the original state of the fundamental nature. People claim that Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas do not see even the first Bodhisattva stage. Up to the sixth Bodhisattva stage, the realization is common with that of the Shravakas and Pratyeka Buddhas. People claim that one is unable to realize true reality through the view of Chittamatra. The view of Chittamatra reaches as far as the realization of the seventh stage. People claim that one realizes both selflessnesses on the first bhumi. One actualizes the absence of a self or phenomena only on the eighth bhumi. People claim that the path is traversed through the different gradual realizations, such as the path of seeing, and of samadhi, such as going heroically. We maintain that one completely traverses all the stages and paths through a single realization. People claim that immediately after attaining a bodhisattva bhumi, qualities such as the 12 sets of 100 arise. The qualities of the bodhisattva stages have 6 different ways of arising. People claim that the result, the accumulation of gnosis, arises from the cause, the gathering of the accumulation of merit. The two accumulations are gathered inseparably throughout all the phases of cause, path, and result. People claim that due to the particulars of Mahayana and Hinayana, there is a difference as to the fields where one gathers accumulations. Whether one has a high or low ability, it is a profound, vital point to select the higher field of merit. People claim that self-grasping is to be abandoned since one passes beyond samsara due to the absence of self-grasping. To deliberately grasp a self and to gather the accumulations is a skillful means. People claim that one performs the dedication of the root of virtue only inasmuch as it was produced by oneself. The root of the virtue of all of samsara and nirvana is dedicated. People claim that it is not necessary to perform dedications to the Buddha and the excellent Guru. It is also necessary to perform dedications to the Buddhas and Gurus.
Lasso. Okay, do you have any questions? Now we have only left 15 minutes. If you have some questions, I would like to open up for discussions, even people who are on the Zoom or here in the here. Yes. Yes, please. Yes.
Wait.
You said earlier that intention is the primary motivation and is the primary thing that will result in whatever result it is. But then ignorance is the worst.
Yes.
So if someone has no knowledge of what they are about to do, but their intention is good, is that karma less heavy because of the intention? Or does it matter? It's just bad and it's just bad.
If somebody's intention is good, but out of ignorance,
They do something harmful.
if we do some kind of like the mistakes, Example? Out of intention. Actually, usually what happens is that whenever we do any kind of action, either it's positive or negative whatsoever, actually it has to combine with the four characteristics. Actually, it need to. Important is actually intention is important, whether we do virtue or non-virtue. That's the number one. And then second important is actually ji. Okay, the first intention is what we are doing, the kind of object, whatever we are doing is virtue or non-virtue, that has to be understood, number one. Second one is that intention is also important. Thirdly, then we have to do some kind of action. And then fourthly, after we did intention, if you have some kind of like satisfactory at the end, the virtue or non-virtue, then any kind of action is become a more stronger. If any action combined with these four characteristic, and then action become either is negative karma, that's become a negative karma stronger, even if that is the virtue, that also becomes stronger, But regarding your question that if somebody intention is good and out of ignorant, how to
If someone is sick,
let's say yes.
and I give them medicine that I think is going to be helpful.
Okay, then
But it
if
turns
that's
out-
okay. It's not like that actually. It's not like that. It does not mean that if your intention is to save the person, but giving the medicine it went into wrong. If someone die, I think it's not in that case. Kind of like different context, Here is what mentioning that is usually we say that is if I don't know. Most people here is talking about the precepts actually. What you said is I understand, but that is the kind of different matter. In this case, there's a different matter. But now this case is talking about the precepts. Most people think that if I don't know, then even if I committed something, and then as if that is a less kind of negative karma. It's seeming like most people that thinking that, I'm a lay people, I allowed to drink alcohol, I allow to do something because out of they're thinking that it's okay for me, that kind of ignorance in talking about, But now in your case is actually a different matter. Of course, in that case, since your intention is very strong, intention is very positive, you won't commit it the killing kind of full. Of course, there are actually sin. But you are not committing very full sort of very heavier negative karma of killing somebody because your intention is not there for kill,
So it's more about
in
ourselves as different.
in this case actually more about the precepts regarding talking about the Vinaya precepts that how because mostly we always thinking about this is the only for monks, this is only for nuns, we are the lay people. It's okay. Then even if you do something out of your ignorance, it's okay. There's no sin. There's no negative karma. That kind of concept is there actually in the public domain. I'm not saying that there are actually these kind of concepts are there. If you do something out of your ignorance, you're doing something by understanding and doing something by ignorance. And most people say, doing something by ignorance is more heavier, sinner. Lesser, most people think like that.
So it's more about perceiving
But
ourselves as different.
But you are sorry to interrupt. Your question is actually your question is that is the kind of it go into different directions, because if somebody said that is the compared to action and motivation, and which is more kind of important? Action is important, or motivation is more important? It becomes into that kind of context, and then what you are saying is that of course the intention is more important. Even somebody kill because assuming that his intention is very good, therefore he give medicine, but because the medicine went into wrong, and then if person is died, then you won't have a kind of killing, kind of full karma of the killing somebody because you don't have a killing intention.
But
so
if I'm happy about it, then that changes everything.
If you are happy about that,
If the person dies and she's happy,
then is of course.
especially when you get the ropes and the ball.
In that case, if you're happy about that, and then you already have an intention of killing, no?
Yeah, so this question and Khenchen Rinpoche's clarification is important to remember that because this point about how your intention and in this point it's about the rules that are found in the Vinaya and the general attitude that people have, which is, well, I never took them, so they don't apply to me.
Yeah.
It's that issue. Your question is more about between intention and action,
which are more
what
important.
determines the karmic quality of the action.
Actions, yeah.
Then clearly the Buddha say intention is what determines the quality of the karma that arises, the effect that arises. Intention is karma.
Yes.
That's a basic statement Buddha gave. So they're not contradictory. It's context.
Different context. Yes, please. Okay, yeah, that's all.
So, Rinpoche, my question has to do with, you mentioned that the preliminary practices are the foundation for the later practices, and it's important to build a stable foundation.
Yes.
So my question is, sometimes I think they say they require 10,000 or 100,000, and sometimes I think you can do the numbers, you can finish 10,000 or 100,000, but it's not properly or effectively.
Okay.
So my question is, what is your recommendation for doing the preliminary practices in a way that is properly and effectively?
Okay. So therefore, actually, there are actually, according to the traditionally, when we do 3 years retreat or something, there are actually numbers. There are actually 100,000 postage, 100,000 Vajra Mantra, whatever. But then nowadays, actually, His Holiness, our Holiness Drikung Kyobpa, he always actually advise not to count. So rather than counting the numbers, you maybe make a framework of like the timing wise. Like let's say I will practice like 1 month for Vajrasattva, 1 month for Mandala, 1 month for Guru Yoga. So that's become more quality than quantity. So nowadays, actually, His Holiness, wherever he do give a Ngondo teachings, and he always said, rather than counting, you just focus on quality. It is true that actually I feel also true. Sometimes also it's becoming a sort of like competition. When you do the group practice, especially if somebody finish like 10,000, somebody still only finish 1,000, and then you get some kind of hesitation. My colleagues already reached nearly 10,000. So therefore, sometimes it's kind of so therefore we're losing the. There's actually it is very interesting when we recite the mantra. Let's say mantra. There is a Tanging Yempa, Tuiging Yempa, and then Taking Yempa. There's 3 types of actually the Yempa means the recitation mantra. There are 3 types. One is actually the Tanging Yempa. Tanging Yempa is the number wise. That I do practice of like 100,000 or 10,000 whatsoever. So you committed to do that kind of number wise. That's the Tanging Yempa. And then Tuiging Yempa is, okay, I will do this one for maybe 1 month or 1 year or something. If you committed to do something the time wise rather than number wise, that's the Tanging Yempa. The Tuiging Yempa, second one. And then ultimately the best one is that signs, Taking Yempa. Until you get some sign, Until you get some sign means, actually usually like, it's really happened, one time, okay, example like Taking Yempa, there are many things, So like sometimes when we do like the idam practices, and then sometimes on front of mandala, when we have the display our the nectar, that can be boiling, and then or that could be or maybe even the torma is actually also melting. The nectar also coming out from torma, that kind of sign. One occasion actually, one of our master now he passed away, the Ishe Jamyang, one of the very great scholars, when he was the Vajra master of Lama Yuru monastery. And one occasion our Holiness was there in the Chara Sambhava Dumcho, sadhana they were doing. And then, and sometimes actually the melting mala, that's also another sign, melting mala or malta. Usually even in the text actually saying that after the dissolution, mala actually also dissolving into the otojua, in the light form. Am I right? Melting into the form of light. It's mentioned like that, One occasion Holiness was there, and then there is very holy one mala at our monastery, that Lama Yuru. And when Holiness was leading that session, and then there was actually very great sign came that after Holiness did it, that few actually the bits become a very stick each other, And then that the Vajra master, the Ishe Jamyang so-called, and he did not notice that one. He tried to take out from that one. Actually, many malas bits was already kind of stick each other, Then later on he noticed that he was regretted about I should have not done that one, It happened a very great sign of something stick to each other, And of course, there are many like that. One occasion, our Holiness also doing the money Drupchen, money retreat that is actually also in Ladakh, and then many relics actually multiply and growing and then falling over the mandala, That kind of signs are happening many practice occasion. So that's what we call until we get some sign, That's what we call Taking Yempa. Nyempa is recitation, is it? Recitation. Until you recite the mantra, until you get some sign. Yeah, there's some. Okay now? So, yeah, basically, actually, one should not be... Actually, there was actually many number-wise because sometimes the people need to have certain disciplines, So rather than doing nothing, it's good to do something. And so therefore, if there is some kind of like numbers, and then that will maybe helps the person to put into discipline to practice, until he finish that number. But ultimately, actually, the time-wise is good. Oh, the best one is, of course, until we get signed. That's the best one.
So my question is to follow up on the statement about the vows. So I understand an action is harmful whether you take a vow to abstain from that action or not. And that is why there is a vow, because that action is harmful. Is it not true that while it's better to take the vow to abstain, that you still also accrue an additional fault by breaking a vow, not just by doing the thing?
So can you repeat a little bit in a short what is his question? That
So he says, is there also extra negative for breaking a promise?
Okay. Yes. Actually, yes, that's also true. I always brave, especially when you breaking something in the Bodhisattva Vayana level or according to Vinaya. So therefore, whenever we take the precepts according to Vinaya, there are actually has to be present some senior monks. They are actually your witnesses. You make a commitment in front of those senior monks. At least need to be 10 senior monks has to be present there while you are taking the vow, because they are witness for you. And but sort of, now you make you deceive them, because you already committed to not to do, but now here second question is second answer is that because you at the same time you have extra some kind of the fault that because you committed, so you lose your commitment. So therefore you have an extra. But at the same time, during the period of time, let's say maybe you keep that samaya without breaking, the precept without breaking, maybe 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, even 10, 20 years. Until that, you accumulated quite numbers of kind of merits that you accumulated. And then even you, when you break your precepts, still you have some kind of wickedness is there. Still you need to say sorry in front of the master, and then you have to give back the cloth and saying sorry, and have to confess in front of them. So therefore, when we measure in between these two things, I think the positive side is much higher than the negative side, so that we can compare. Yeah, that's all. Yes.
As lay practitioners, should we also find some way to confess if we feel we have broken a samaya after empowerment?
Yes, very true. Actually, it says that it is once we break one samaya, it is very appropriate to confess in front of the master whom you receive the empowerment whatsoever. And then also it says that if master is not anymore there, if the master is like yogi, if he has a concert, if he's the son or daughter, whatever is there, still you can confess in front of them. Even if the master is not anymore there, if he is the single master, if he has no any kind of the concert or something, and then you can confess in front of his disciple. Actually, say like that, because you already, there is a connection is there, because if the master is there, best to do in front of him, not then other one, yeah. That's all. Is somebody, yes please, is somebody also checking the comments or not? Okay.
I assume monastic Vinaya includes sexual abstinence.
Mm-hmm.
So what about people who are married, lay people? Does that mean that they should, obviously they shouldn't take vows of sexual abstinence if they're married, right?
Yes, yes.
So is it better for them not to take that vow if they intend to? If you see what I'm saying?
Yes, actually, at the beginning of the while we are taking the vow, one should not have intent to marry. If he or she right from the beginning, his mind has to be clear. If there is the kind of while taking the precept, there's no way to receive the vow, thinking that okay, I will keep the precept for 1 month or 1 year, 2 years, something. Then later on I will marry. If he or she has that kind of way of thinking, absolutely, there's no way to receive the vow actually, because the intention has to be clear. Because I'm going to keep this my precept. I'm taking my precept for until I life actually. Of course, if the Bodhisattva Vayana, until I achieve enlightened mind, but according to the Vinaya level, until I life. That has to be clear. But I think I would say almost 100% that when somebody becoming a monk or nun, when they're taking the precept in front of such a thing, I'm sure I'm sure they have kind of intention then keeping our precept for whole life. But somehow there's a many cause and condition happen, some incident happen, because all we are human beings. So then later on, after maybe even there happen, some monks or some nuns, even like when they become whole life being a monk or nun, like maybe even 50s, 60s, even 70s, they disrupt sometimes until 60. It's a fine keeping a vow, everything. Then after that, someone through different cause and condition, they break their things. That could be happen. So
But my question is, if the vows are good for everybody, why shouldn't married people take a vow of abstinence?
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You are right. So actually, so therefore,
Not the monk.
And then also the Jigten Sumgon, he says that, I think we already passed. I don't know whether you noticed that or not. Jigten Sumgon says that if someone managed to keep the precepts, will receive the benefits equally for all the sentient beings. So that means that taking the vow is some kind of commitment that keeps more stable. You see, understand? When you take the vow in front of somebody, it is already like it's making some kind of you are making a kind of like sealing that one, thinking that I have the vow and I commit it in front of something that you feel like I'm a monk or nun after committed something. Otherwise, without taking the vow, if someone managed to keep the precepts, more or less, he or she will receive the benefits equally. Example, like one of the rule is that Buddha said that, of course, we are not allowed to eat dinner. One of the rules is like that, actually, after lunch, not to eat. There are actually several reasons. One reason is that actually not eating after lunch is that you can focus on your meditation better because you feel like more freshness and you can concentrate more. You can focus on your meditation. I think that is equally same for whether monks or nuns or lay people. Even the scientists, the doctors also said now it's better not to eat dinner. So therefore, whether you keep the commitment in front of somebody that is saying that I'm not going to eat dinner at all, or without any commitment, if you do not eat dinner, so the benefits of that, whatever is like physical advantage benefits, or your spiritual part of the advantage that you can focus on practicing more and more, you will get the same advantage. Therefore, Jigten Sumgon said that taking the vow is actually we will maybe that it put us onto the discipline side. Otherwise, the virtue or non-virtue will equally, without kind of that's taking the vow or not. Does it make sense? Yeah.
I think the issue here is also we should not like hear these teachings in a kind of legalistic mindset.
Yes, yes, yes.
You know, it's not about in the, you know, court of law. You know, can you argue your way out of something? Yeah. So the fundamental point is like, what is good for everyone.
Yes,
What is bad for everyone.
yes, something like that actually.
So even if you want to give more extreme example, is there negative karma when a tiger has to kill a rabbit? There is, according to this understanding. There is. But does the tiger have a choice? No choice. So compared to the negative karma of a human killing a rabbit and a tiger killing a rabbit, right? Then the human killing the rabbit is a heavier karma. Because the human can just go, you know, pull a carrot out rather than killing a rabbit. Yes? So it's not like we're punishing the tiger, you know. Again, it's not a rule set up by Buddha. That's the first line of Gongchik. It's just natural way how things are. Yeah. So it's the underlying principle.
So choice is big.
So
Yeah. Choice
choice is big. Yes, choice
Yeah,
is big.
but in extreme cases like the tiger, I mean, we know biologically the tiger doesn't have the choice. And that's why also the teachings about how in one of the Vajra statements, right? It's to be reborn as an animal is actually more consequential than to be reborn as a being in the hell realm. Because the beings in the hell realm can still choose to some degree and regret can arise. But as a animal, you can't make those moral choices. And now you're stuck in a condition where your condition continuously makes you have to go in that direction. Although even that we hear of very exceptional cases where animals choose against their biological, you also have stories like that, so there's always exceptions. Again, this is not meant to be legalistic. And so if we take this whole thing without going too far, come back to the issue of what Kyobpa Rinpoche is addressing is, especially in his time and even in our times, within the Buddhist family of practitioners, there are people who have these ideas that, oh, I'm practicing Tantra, I can do all kinds of things that, monks cannot do. And that's the immediate context. And I think if we remember that, it's fun to think about these kind of bigger questions. But there's a more immediate context and consequence, more immediately related to. So it's important to know that that chapter comes, right, before the chapter on Bodhisattva vow, which comes before the chapter on secret mantra vows. So in the end, it's in the context of the three vows. Yeah. There are great implications, yes, I think, if you were doing ethics, you're doing philosophy, you could tease out all kinds of interesting questions. But the immediate context of these Vajra statements are in the context of the three vows. And I always want to remind people to, before we go too big, to think about deep thoughts about big questions, we first understand,
Basic.
Yeah, the basic point he's making. And then to also see how, like Kenjan Rinpoche said, it's actually different from what's normally expressed even within the Buddhist family. And Kyobpa Jigten Sumgon offers a unique view on a lot of these basic issues.
But then since, as I mentioned earlier, the Jigten Sumgon, he is a great high religion master, and then he sees things as it is, So ultimately, it is true, But when we talk about just ordinary way, of course, monks and nuns and lay people, it looks like kind of that's totally different. But
Clearly,
ultimately,
there's difference, right?
yeah, ultimately, actually, each and every one of us have a responsibility to do something good things, and each of us, we have a responsibility to not to do any bad things. Actually, that's equally, whether because we all are same as human being, all we intend to become a Buddha, all we intend to become a good person. I think everybody, So, but of course, there is actually as I mentioned earlier, why it makes the difference is the Buddha make this only for design for this and that, because Buddha is very skillful one. That's the Kyobpa, the Buddha is very skillful one. So therefore, it has to be. So therefore, therefore, reason why there are many even according to the Tantrayana, there are many deities, peaceful deities, wrathful deities. Why? Because we are skillfully. Sometimes also parents also in order to sometimes also to show scary face to their own kids, They have to make scare with showing the different angry, different kind of scary sound and scary faces in order to, So therefore, basically all the Buddhas or Bodhisattvas, they are very skillful persons. So therefore, in order to lead onto the better path, so there are many different different way of practicing, different way of tools that Buddha shown us. Ultimately, so we have to understand. We have to understand what is the reality actually. What is the ultimate reality that what we should do, what we have a responsibility that is there. So the making the commitment is something very surface level. Whether we take the commitment or vows or not, but actually ultimately we all have to do the good things. So example, like one of the law or one of the rule, the monks is that we are not allowed to throw we cannot throw all the dirty things everywhere. It's a kind of the law of the government actually. That's going to, even not only is applicable for the monks and nuns. We have to keep the clean environment. So if you throw pee everywhere there, so you will be caught by police and you get punishment. That's actually the rules of the monks mentioned also like that. So these are just kind of like the simple the rules that Buddha make very clear for especially since the community, there are very less community that the monks and nuns that who came to Buddha to listen to the Buddha. So for them, it's easy to train for them rather than Buddha saying to everybody, So therefore, he very skillfully. Ultimately, so it is actually, we all have a responsibility. That's what Buddha what Jigten Sumgon mean to say, I think, if we know Jigten Sumgon view and if we think very deeper way, it is we can build a very trust and understanding and deep respect about the teachings of Jigten Sumgon, isn't it? Does it make sense or not? I don't know.
So we should close for today. I'm sure you all have other plans for the evening and all that. So please look at the dedication text on page 23. Actually, use the booklet because the Pecha dedication is a little different. So if you can look at the booklet, page 23. I think, page 23. Is it? What is? 22. Yeah, there's some different versions. 22. Krevajadhara tilepa naropa marpa please bestow the most auspicious blessings of all you Kagyu Gurus. By this merit, achieve the all-knowing state. May all who wander on the waves of birth, old age, and death cross the ocean of samsara by defeating enemies of fault, by the virtues collected in the three times in samsara and nirvana, innate virtue, and in the primordially co-imagent mandala, the mind may I realize the exalted intention of Jit and Gompo, of the two truths in the exalted form of Vajradhara. In all lifetimes may I never be separated from the perfect Gurus. The richness of the glorious Dharma, having thoroughly perfected the exalted qualities, may I quickly attain the state of Vajradhara. May the 80,000 classes be pacified, thus freeing this place from unfavorable and harmful conditions. Excellent endowments be established, and with this auspiciousness bring about happiness. May there be well-being in the world and good harvest, grain and flourish of Dharma. May auspiciousness be established in all places. Wish for fulfill, may the collection of favorable conditions and resources, Dharma, for ourselves and others be fulfilled according to our wishes. Multitudes of diseases, evil spirits, obstructors, hindrances, peace and pacified bodhicitta, the excellent and precious mind. May it arise where it is born, may it not decline but ever increase. I pray for the excellent health of the Gurus, and may the Gurus' supreme life belong. May the Gurus far and wide, and may I be blessed not to be separated from the Gurus. As Manjushri knows everything as it is, and Samantabhadra, so too will I follow in their path and perfectly dedicate all the virtues. Through this dedication, praise as supreme by the conquerors of the three times, all of these roots of virtue to accomplishing the noble deeds by the blessings of the who have attained the three kayas by the blessings of the truth of the unchanging Dhamma, by the blessings of the indivisible Sangha order. May these dedication prayers be accomplished by the truth of the three jewels and the blessings of the Buddhas, and by the great might of the complete perfection of the two accumulations, by the strength of the completely pure and inconceivable Dharma Dhatu. May this be attained accordingly by the virtues collected times by me and the entirety of samsara and nirvana. May I and all sentient beings the unsurpassed, perfect, complete, precious Bodhi by the blessings of the truth. Kagyu Gurus, the excellent three Idams, Dakinis, Mapalas, may the spiritual and temporal places of the tradition of of the second Nagarjuna flourish. Whatever harmful discord and faults may arise, pacified, and may there be abundant prosperity and happiness. May the teachings of the great Drikung Paranashri, the all-knowing Dharma Lord, Master of interdependence, continue to increase
through the study,
practice, contemplation, and meditation until the end of by the power of the virtues collected in accordance with the teachings of the pure realizations. Mistaken teacher, may the teachings of Rana Shri of Drikung, protector of the 10 bhumis, flourish perpetually. This last line should read, the protector of the 10 bhumis, flourish perpetually. It's not that the protector is on the 10th bhumi, but he is the one who protects all those on all the bodhisattva stages.
So, thank you. Thank you, all the Zoom mandala. Oh, I could see.
So tomorrow, in the afternoon session, we are going to do the feast offering talk. So those of you who are at the temple, we are going to buy those offerings. If you want to join in contributing, on your way out, you can leave some cash in that basket there that says light a candle. Just even a small amount, $5, or you have a couple of quarters, then you kind of more concretely join in the act of offering the feast as a thanksgiving. So you can leave your offering there. Many of you already online have sent the offerings, so we are going to prepare those offerings. For lunch, I suggest tomorrow we kind of skip it. We'll have a break in the morning, and you can go get a coffee or something, and then we'll do the feast offering at 1. And then in that way, we don't end up eating a whole bunch of things.
Tomorrow also, just coincidence with the Dakini Day.
Yes. A very auspicious day is a Dakini Day, which is the day that, that feast offering should be offered and enjoyed. Yeah. So we are going to do that. So those of you who are joining us on Zoom, you can prepare your own feast offering. Basically, it should consist of solids and liquids. In this tradition, we don't use alcohol, we don't use meat. So prepare those offerings accordingly. Then we will do the offering. Then you can also participate on your end. Can be as simple as a plate of offerings with a glass of juice, something like that. So join us in this way as well on your end wherever you are.